All right. So, okay. So I'm here to talk about one of my most favorite topics, if not my favorite topic at the moment, and that is, normalizing our periods, talking about blood, our menstrual blood. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing tips and practices on how to begin to create a ceremony and a more spiritual connection with your period, with your moon cycle, with your bleeding time. Shout out to sweet sister Casey, who reached out to me, noticed some of my posts, and asked me about how to create more of a spiritual practice around the our bleeding time, how to make the cycle more sacred. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm really excited because this is the question, in my opinion. This is the ultimate question that I want to hear more sisters asking, because why would we ask that question? Why would we ask how can we make our blood, our bleeding time of month more sacred, more spiritual? And that's where we need to begin, because it is the most spiritual, sacred thing already. That it just already is that. Why? Because that blood that comes out of our yonis, our vaginas, from our womb, is the substance that nurtures life, human life, into existence. So the period, the menstruation, the mucus of the period, the blood, is lining the uterus, coats the uterus, and all of the woman's best nutrients, stem cells, all the codes from the universe are embedded, codes of creation embedded in the DNA in this blood. And a sperm, fertilized egg, needs that to nourish it and feed it, and that is the perfect environment to create life. It is not a waste product. And every single month, most once a month, every 28 days, or I'm more like 37 days, women go through a time where we shed that uterus, that lining. We shed that lining of the uterus because we haven't been fertilized. Monthly, we bleed. We go into our winter season. We go inside. We feel everything. And we are in a time of yin, introspectiveness. Now, in this time, we're very feminine. Our energy is very feminine. It's very yin. It's in the dark. It's deeply feeling. It's very sensitive. Our left and right brain hemisphere are working closer together than at any other time in our cycle. And we are our most closest to spirit. So the veil between the world and the physical world and the spirit world is thinner for women while they're bleeding. You are more spiritually connected and more spiritually powerful while you're bleeding, period. Right? Just as you are. So it's not about making it a spiritual thing. It's just about honoring that that's what it is. Creating time and space to listen and allow yourself to bleed. But I'm going to give some practical tips on how I do that and how I've done that to help me honor that time. Because we live in a man's world. We live in a white man's world where we're expected to take pills, shove tampons up us. We can't leak, we can't bleed, we can't cry. We have to take medication and we have to get on with it. We can't definitely not tell anyone that we've got our periods, right? So one point I want to make here is that our cycle is not just our bleed. We are constantly in cycle. We are cyclical beings, us women. We are constantly moving through the seasons. I just bled, that's my winter season. Now my energy is coming up, I'm feeling more creative, more in my body, more outwards, feeling a bit prettier, inspired, feeling creatively inspired. And I'm in my springtime, so everything's fresh, clean, I'm emerging. Next week, I'll be in my summer, I'll be ovulating. The cycle keeps going. The body is like blood. Okay, no fertilization, cleanse. All right, everyone, hormones up, get that egg ready. Egg comes out, make her amazing. I'll be glowing at my summer. I'll be able to speak clearer. I'll be magnetizing towards everything will be more magnetized towards me. I'll be better at manifesting things. Powerful, powerful time. And then autumn will come and the hormone levels will start to drop again. My body will realize that I haven't been fertilized and we're going to prepare to shed for winter. So just acknowledging for a moment that the female human body is constantly in cycle, right? Constantly in cycle, constantly in service to humanity, to our species. It's different for men because they're constantly creating, more sperm, letting it out, and creating it more. But we are going through the cycles, the seasons of the earth in 1 month, and our body is constantly preparing for birth, for creation of life. That is the power that you hold within you, and that is the power that we shame and that we disgust and that we turn away from when we disconnect from our own blood. And this has been done to us purposefully. All right, so let's get into it. So that's why we want to create a more sacred time, because it is sacred, and without connection to that, you are a disconnected woman and your life will not flow. There will be something very, very powerful missing from your life. And also when it comes to, giving birth and being a mother, I haven't gone on that journey yet personally, but I do believe that connecting to the period and the ritual and the blood and your body and your womb is going to help you when it comes to childbirth and pregnancy and motherhood. So, how to make bleeding more spiritual and sacred. Deep reverence, respect that you are a cyclical woman, that you are a keeper of the womb. It's not an accident that you were born with a womb. To hold that power to create life within you is sacred and is powerful, and it must not be shamed. It deserves time and space. So we are creating time and space to allow your blood to teach you. Allow your body and your blood to teach you, so time and space where you can listen. Not go to work, not go to that party, not take those hormone tablets so you don't get your period just in case some guy wants to touch your vagina. This is about creating your life around your bleed. So I know on my calendar when I'm going to bleed. All I do is I write down the first day I bleed, the whole day, first day of blood, I write it in my phone. Then I know that about 34 days after that, it'll come around that time and I'll be, I'm getting tired. Okay, it's coming, and I know my body. That is really important. That's a really big first step, is just that first day of bleed, write it down, and then you'll start to be able to track your own cycle. Because you might not be working with the cycles of the moon, and you definitely are not working on a masculine sun-based calendar. And most likely not a 28-day cycle that men have told you that you should cycle on, right? So deep reverence, creating time and space because your blood is going to teach you. So ceremony. I go into ceremony. I have 3 days. The first 3 days are the most important. So first day of full blood, and I'm in what I call the blood cave of death, the blood cave for short, and I'm in my ceremony. Ceremony is just carving out time and space to connect to the sacred. And this is for you to do it in your own way. Each bleed is totally unique. You might be in a different place, a different space. So I've got a foundation that I go by, but it will change and make it different for you because this is about you connecting with your body. For me, it starts with not fluffing around on it. I say I am bleeding. You'll notice that I use the word blood and bleed because we need to get the fuck over it. That's what's happening. That's what it is. And it's beautiful and it's powerful and it's magical. So I'm done with like, I'm on my moon cycle or my moon flower or it's that time of month or Aunt Flo's in town. Like, no, I'm bleeding and the world needs to know that that is what I'm doing as a service to humanity. And I deserve and demand respect because I'm a bleeding human, right? So that's important. So the first day of blood, it's on my calendar. I know when it's kind of coming and I prepare for winter. My autumn, I'm thinking all the things I need to get done, telling whoever I need to tell, bosses or whoever. Organizing my life. I think of like the bear, right? Autumn, preparing to go into hibernation, getting everything finished and done, tying up loose ends so that I can have 3 days off. Women are the mothers of the world. We give our energy to everything all the time, all month. All our bodies ask for is 3 days. Surrender. Give your energy to yourself. Just 3 days. It is the hardest thing. One of the hardest things you'll ever do is surrender to the blood cave for 3 days. I think it's Women Who Run with the Wolves, a beautiful book that if you haven't read, highly recommend. Women Who Run with the Wolves, I'm pretty sure they were saying in there, I read, 3 days, take a break. And the more you rest in those first 3 days of bleeding, the more energy you'll have for the rest of your cycle. I read that and I was like, that sounds pretty fucking good. I want more energy for the rest of my cycle so I can get more done. So I'm going to try it out. So I've been experimenting with it and it changed everything. And everyone I've shared the blood cave with, it's changing their lives for the better. So preparing for winter, telling people without hiding, I am bleeding. What does that mean? What does that mean? So I set up with, so I am bleeding. I'm owning it. I'm telling people I'm about to bleed, saying it to my male bosses. If you're working for a male boss, tell him I'm going to bleed. I'm not working when I'm bleeding because I'm bleeding, right? We need to get this blunt about it. So taking this time for you is a gift, not only to yourself, but to your children, your future children, and a gift to humanity. If women are resting in their bleed time, we are more connected to spirit, we are more connected to our bodies, our wombs, we are more powerful, and our whole culture, our whole society will benefit from this. This is why it's so important. So what I do, I've carved out my 3 days, I'm set up. I make a blood altar. So an altar, we must remember that an altar, is you've got like it's a little table and you're putting really precious things to amplify and to alter reality. So it's intentional placing of crystals or feathers, stones. You want to bring the elements in. You want to, what is your place to come to pray? And I'm going to put my blood in a jar in the center of that altar. That's my blood altar. So whatever my altar was, I remove it and I start fresh. So what do I want to call into my bleed? I definitely want to have water there, goddess water, the water goddess, grandmother water present. I want to have candles, fire. I want to have feathers. I want to have my favorite crystals. You know, I have like my pleasure wand, my crystal wand, because I want to make sure that I'm remembering like pleasure. And sometimes I put money on there as well, because I'm honoring my worth, you know. So you can really play around with what you want on there at that time. But it's your 3-day altar for your blood. I might have a piece of paper where I'm writing, I am beautiful, I am sacred, I am powerful, whatever it is. But that's where I sit and I pray and I do my rituals. And that's where my blood will sit. So you might want, you know, female goddess energies, deities that you want to help you to let go, support you, you know, smudge sticks, whatever. That's not with me now, but I have a book that's just my yoni book. I'm pretty much just my blood book. I do write in it sometimes in other parts of my cycle, because it's my vagina book, it's my yoni book. So sometimes I want to not just write about my blood, but I definitely write first day of blood, I write the date, and I'm painting with my blood. But we'll get into like different things you can do with your blood. But just taking the time is the most important thing. So, and writing, so I'm tracking not only the time and the date of my cycle and how long my cycle is. So I write day 1, 34-day cycle, this is the date, this is how I feel, and what am I going through? Just, yeah, whatever you need to write. That really helps me. Also, goddess contracts, right? So we've got goddess contracts, and you got to think of like your team. So I just live with women. I've organized it that way. And, you know, just letting people around you know, hey, I'm going into the blood cave. Don't talk to me for 3 days. Unless I call for you, and then I'm going to need you to rub oils on me, bring me chocolate, you know, get me water. I feel like my water bottle make me like chocolate potions with like mushrooms and kava. Demand that people help you, and remind them that those who are in service of the bleeding goddess that is the closest they can get to God, I believe. The closest, the most respect and reverence they can have for life, and by honoring this embodiment of Mother Creator. So it is an honor for me to be of service to my bleeding sisters, not because I understand what they're doing, but I am never closer. There's not more, for me, there's not more of a spiritual act that I can do than serving a bleeding woman. And for men too, I believe it's very powerful. In the blood cave, I've had lots of visions of goddess temples with bleeding goddesses, where men and women come and offer their gifts and their thanks and their gratitude and their praying, and then there's a little bit of wisdom or healing or insight bestowed on those, either in that moment or later on. So really, you know, and the more you do it in the blood cave, the more you'll start to feel, the more your relationship will deepen with your blood. And the more you'll know, feel more powerful to demand, hey, I'm doing a lot here for humanity. So, yeah, honor me, right? So you've got your team, your people that know you're bleeding, know what you're going through, know what you need. They're ready to support you. That's really important. Medication free. I'm not saying if you're already on medication, don't stop taking it, you know. But rather than popping pills, give yourself permission to feel. While we take, our sensations are like, hey, there's something going on here. It's deep, it's ancestral. I'm feeling so much. Honoring your feelings, creating a safe space in your bedroom, in your blood cave, by your altar, where you can fucking feel what your body, what your womb is trying to tell you. So No medication, permission to feel, permission to bleed, permission to explore, permission to be wild, gentle movement, groaning, letting that energy move through. We do not allow ourselves to feel our blood. We are, I've got to just pretend like it's not happening and shove it down, and we have become so suppressed, and it is so damaging. The blood cave is, I'm in it and I'm roaring, and my intuition says I need to paint blood on my third eye, because that energy is going to go straight to my third eye, and I'm getting visions. I'm closer to creation, right? It's telling me to pour my blood into my bath and have a blood bath, and I'm like, well, that's a bit fucking crazy, but trust my intuition, jump into the blood bath, and I realized that, wow, that's the most nourishing, supportive thing I could ever do for myself. I'm bathing in the elixir of creation, and it's nurturing me. The last time I was floating in this elixir, I was in the womb. And that was one of the most powerful healing experiences that just came to me. So when you create that space, you're going to have your own insights of how your blood will talk to you. Maybe you want to paint with it. Maybe you want to write with it. Maybe sometimes I write out prayers and then I paint on it and then I burn it, like whatever. But give yourself that time and space to be in ceremony. I'm in here for 3 days. I'm dedicated to feel. I've got an amazing Blood Cave playlist as well, which I'll try and link or something for you to find. And it's like Wilkanina. It's called the Blood Cave. Blood Cave of Death, I think. It's called the Blood Cave of Death because we are cyclical. That means we die so we can be reborn, and we know, we honor death. So we're working with blood and yin energy and darkness, and we can't. I don't believe that we can thrive in life if we don't honor the death cycle. That's a lot of information. So, I also wanted to say that it does start with using different sanitary items, like a moon cup or a diva cup, period undies, connecting with the blood. We're so flush it down the toilet, get rid of it, ew, gross. Who the fuck told you that it's gross? I've been using a moon cup for many years now, maybe 6 years or something. And still there's times where I'm covered in blood and I'm in the shower and I'm like, oh, there's still this part of me, this young girl, uninitiated young girl that still freaks out at the sight of blood, because we haven't been initiated into it properly. So it's okay. Sometimes I can't shove my moon cup up there. Everything's too swollen, it hurts. So period undies, or just a reusable pad, or just bleeding freely. I'm in the blood cave. I don't have to do anything. I can just bleed. You can get a waterproof blanket, whatever, but you are allowed to just bleed on things and look at the blood, smell the blood, taste the blood, put it on your face. It's amazing for face masks. It's full of stem cells. It's incredible. But we've been taught to hate it. We've been taught to hate the most magical, sacred, mystical parts of ourselves. And when you're in the blood cave, rage for this will arise. But you're in the space to scream and smack your pillow and cry and feel that. And it's very important that that's felt, so that we can stand together as strong, powerful sisters and love our blood. Love ourselves. Fully love ourselves. How can we love ourselves and hate our blood? It's not possible. So this is some of my blood that I've got left over from my last cycle, my last bleed. It was inside of me at the end of 2020. When I turned 30, I did 4 days of deep plant medicine work, and this was all inside of me. And it's also believed that because it wasn't fertilized, it was actually embedded with information from the stars. And it's our job as women to return that to the earth and when we return our blood to the earth, we're putting that information back to the mother and letting her know that we remember what we are. We are home. We remember our power, and the sisters are back. The sisters are together. We're conscious. We're listening. We're connected to Mother. It's our sacred offering. And as we offer, we receive, we give, we receive. We're always receiving from Mother Earth, so the least we can do is give her some of our blood back. So I'm going to do that now. I'm by this beautiful place where two creeks meet in Tasmania. Pretty special, one creek coming from here and here, and they've found each other and they moved down there. And I'm going to create a nice little altar space and pray and thank my ancestors and give my blood to the earth. So yeah, I hope that this helps you, sisters. Please contact me. I'm going to be working on doing some more workshops and events and courses on this, but I'm definitely open to like more questions and feedback. And I think that there's nothing more powerful than returning to our blood and our seasons and our cycles. So yeah, thank you. You're so beautiful. You're so powerful, so magical. And when you're doing nothing, you are doing everything for humanity all the time. So thank you for existing. Love you.